G'day and welcome back to Torment Thursdays. We just did a little quest involving a young kid who's from the past and found out a bit more about the gateway, and now it's just time to kind of continue to look around this area. Edible metals, that's an interesting idea. Okay, now there's this guy. This portly man's cracked and bleeding hands are always moving, picking fretfully at his thick lips, running through his thinning hair, or moulding aimless shapes in the air. His clothes are marked with paint, dust, dried blood, and clay. His eyes brim with frustrated tears as he studies the strangely familiar sculptures arrayed around him. A soul like slivers of ice, he mutters, fingertips long, shriveled sharp, screams trapped in flesh. She holds him in place. She's killing him. He's not looking at her. Why? Why isn't he? Afraid? No. What am I not seeing? What am I missing? A potential customer. What? No, you're not, he says, effortlessly drawing you into his self-directed tirade. No one wants these. They're honest, but ugly, death pulled from dead stone. He coughs a cloud of dust, and I wouldn't sell it to anyone in any case. Not even for a tusk of bread. None of them are worth buying. None of them are right. I'm Zafi, stone carver, sculptor, divine painting of living eyes, and this challenge, my greatest work, my talent, has finally abandoned me. He sweeps a scornful hand at the sculptures. Behold my art, wanderer. Witness these dull stumps, these crude replicas of a sublime being. What do you think it is that I've made? Let's try and recall why the sculpture looks so familiar. I could boost this, but honestly, I am pretty happy with just leaving this as it is, because, I mean, I've got enough other things that I want to use those points on, and amanuensis cannot be shared by someone else, which kind of makes sense. Hey, we made it anyway. You stare at the sculptures, your memories flow into its sweeping coast, teasing you with what you've seen in your short life and beyond. Yes, this towering thing is the true form of the creature that pursues you. Zelfi has sculpted the sorrow. You don't realize what you've spoken aloud until Zelfi's gasp and see the tear in his eyes. Yes, sorrow, even grief is present in the work. I feel it, but where? I cannot pull it from the stone. I saw this creature on a cold night not long ago. Smoking coronas of blackened light drew me to my window, Zelfi says, shaping the scene with his palms. And there on the street below was she, gripping a man in her talons. Before my very eyes, she ripped his essence from him, leaving a steaming husk. What do you care? You don't grasp the importance of such a subject. I do. You wish to capture the emotion of the victim. Zelfi stares at you, dumbfounded. Yes, he says finally. Gods around us, yes, someone gets it. He points a trembling finger at the faceless stone human. He stared at it eternity in the face and did not blink, but he'll be forgotten unless I capture him here. I can't do that without knowing what drove him. He swallows bitterly. The moment he fell, I ran for the streets, but the Dendro her claimed him first. I'll never know who he was. Is there anything else you can remember about the creature that killed your subject? That's what all the other people ask me. Typical, isn't it? I ignore the incandescent flare of this brief stranger's life and focus on his murderer. She's so much more glamorous. Don't tell me what you want. I thought you understood. No, I want to see... You're right. It's not fair to him. He deserves to be remembered. Yes, Zelfi cries, tears beating at corners of his red-rimmed eyes. Yes, we rise like sparks from a campfire, winking out one by one. If we're fortunate, we leave a puff of smoke to mark where we once were. He cups the faceless statue's cheek. Some of the sparks, they rush into the embrace of the infinite sky, striving to become stars. No one there racing towards destruction. What was his reason? What drove him? How many statues? No. If I learn anything about your subject, I'll let you know. Cool. So I guess we go to the Dender or her for the next part of that, which we will. Okay, now Tol Magur and Slavers. As you approach, the wild-haired woman eyes you speculatively and whispers something to her companions. They burst out laughing, and a slight smirk plays about her lips. A breathing mask dangles from a cord around her neck, and you can see where it's cut permanent grooves into her face. She ruffles her hair, messing itself further, and sings out, "Come to buy a slave, cast off. If you've come to me, you must want something of the sort." Maybe. What do you have on offer? She scowls. Right now, nothing. I've sold most of my stock, and then... Well, let me make a deal. I know who, or at least what you are. I've had dealings with cast-offs before. I've got knowledge about your kind that may be useful to you, but it comes at a price. What's the price? One of my wards has run off. She's taken a head wound. Not my doing, and I've been watching after her. I don't know where she's gone, but I suspect she's headed to Cliff's Edge. Plenty of other urchins clamoring around the place, and she'll find it easy to blend in. Sadly, my troop and I are detained here, so we can't go ourselves. She's a scrawny little child, name of Rin, head wound, covered by dark curly hair. Has a little necklace around her throat, babbles around about gods. Go get her for me. I'll tell her what you want to know. Answer a few other questions for me first. Fine. What is the deal with slavery here? It's not so bad, not so horrific. Almost no one sells them for parts anymore. Fact is, most of them go down to the Bloom, where they can work off their debt to society by opening a moor or two. It's not a forever thing. It's a punishment. Tell me about you. I'm a slaver, the last person you want to make an enemy. I've got a reputation for coming through on my word. Nothing else need concern you. Farewell. I'm not gonna do that. That is not a thing that I'm willing to do, even in a virtual setting. Arms merchant. These guys who will accuse me of theft. Let's do that. Why not? Nearly every inch of this merchant's body is covered in tightly wound robes and furs. A hood obscures its head and a mask conceals its face. This doesn't stop you from noticing that it's apparently furious with you. Trembling, it bats at its similarly dressed companion. Both of them turn impassive masks back to you. Neither Felindi nor Staresti could believe it, but the thief had come back. He'd come back in shame, ready to return what he'd taken? No, his hands were empty, his expression baffled. Valinda crosses swaddled arms. And perhaps the thief had simply forgotten to return what he had borrowed, but this made him no less a thief. Are you narrating me? The thief said, trying to distract Valinda from the matter at hand, but the merchant would not be distracted. 10 years ago, this thief had borrowed a book. Valinda wondered if the scoundrel was possibly unfamiliar with the definition of the word. It did not mean taking a thing and keeping it after all. Storisti pointedly returns to work, ignoring both of you. Valinda sighs, massaging his temples with clawed hands. But in the end, Valinda took a deep, deep breath and asked the thief to simply return the sealed and long overdue book with the 5-colored sigil on its cover. Can't promise anything, but I'll look for it. The thief muttered ashamed, but Valinda was satisfied. Temporarily. Why do you narrate everything I say? The thief said, but Valinda knew from long experience that there was no explaining it. The merchant kneels before a bookshelf and jams book after book into the remaining space. This frustrated Valinda. After all, the two merchants were creatures of word, bound in metal and cloth. When Valinda tried to bend these same words into explanations and answers, they crumbled and fell apart. They could not fold themselves around the truth. And so Valinda said nothing.
I'll remember that.
And let's see what you've got. The sign over the store says, "The Arming Room. Buy, sell, trade." Under the awning, a skinny man with stooped shoulders and a concave chest is cleaning a filth-caked weapon of some kind. He salutes you with a greasy hand. "Done in a moment. Have a look around. If you need anything, let me know." What do you got for sale? So I can sell off some of these useless things. And I can also sell off some ciphers, but I want to keep this. And I do want to keep that. I should keep that in mind though, because that's 5 uses and it heals me and gives me an intellect edge. I should probably have used those points then. I mean, those are powerful uses and 5 shots at it. So this is all weapons. So she's got buzzer, 3 damage, plus 2 damage per effort. We got 7 damage, plus 2 damage per effort. And Taiba has 3 damage plus 4 damage per effort. And we can basically see the same kinds of things here. Cool. So I could get her a shield. I could get me a shield. Why wouldn't I get a shield? It's 15. Yep. Okay, we'll do that. So we're pretty low on shims, but you know what? Pretty sure I can just sell off this oddity. 52. Yep, there we go. And we've got just a little bit more defense than we had before. Can we talk to the seer? No. Okay. Alright, let's start on a quest that I know we need to do. So here is the... Look, it's one of the Death Cheetah's vessels. How can it be? What fortune, what joy! Casmine will want to see your vessel, and Mimion too. Yeah, they're right over here. So this is the circus, this is the cult of the changing god. This is where they're set up, and this is a clock we want to deal with. I wonder if I can do it without talking to them. As you approach the clock, there's a pause in the argument the duo next to it are having. The petite woman turns towards you. Her hair is unusual, a light almost yellow color, and her bright eyes dominate her pretty face. Excuse me, my colleague and I were having a discussion. Her eyes fall upon your tattoo, and her breath catches audibly in her throat. Her partner is an unnaturally tall man, gaunt and sour-faced, his voice sonorous, with fingers that twitch and weave through strange contortions. Occasional light sparks in the air as he does. He turns to you and opens his mouth to speak, registers your tattoo, and closes it again. His throat bobs for a moment, and he says, "It is an honor." "We must indulge in this religious nonsense," Calstige says. "Your opinion of our beliefs is noted. We have discussed our differences with you, and you made your position quite clear, thank you." He turns back to you, anger etched on his face. He collects himself. "If I might impose upon your time for a moment, will you tell me about your tattoo? How did you shape it? Do you know why it differs from the others?" "What do you mean, shape it? Don't tattoos remain the same?" "Not yours, revered one." Her voice is a barest whisper. She curtsies. "You're a cast-off of the changing god, a light of brilliance. His touch is on your head. The tattoo marks you as his child." She gazes at you enrapt. "You're not alone. The other cast-offs lives, and we treasure each of you." "You are welcome here, revered one. We stand ready to serve as we can. Have you any questions for us?" "Do you know anything about a device called a resonance chamber?" "Rumor and conjecture, nothing more. Idle speculations from those who wish to pretend knowledge of your side's motivations, passed along as facts. Have you seen it? Do you know where it is? Do you know what it does?" "I don't know anything about the resonance chamber, but I was told you might." He smiles slightly and spreads his hands in apology. "Not as much as I should like, but we have ways to find answers." His eyes stroll your face, and it seems as if he's on the verge of understanding something. "It is said by those loyal to your sire that the chamber is the solution to the sorrow, the creature that hunts you all." "We don't know how, though. We take it out as an article of faith. The resonance chamber will save you." "I do not recognize you," he says. Mimion says. "You do not match any of the descriptions we have recorded." Casmine snaps her fingers as if she's finally figuring out a mystery. "Wait, let me remember your face." She studies you carefully. "Oh my, you're new. Are you the changing god? Can it be?" She reaches out to touch your sleeve and pulls her hand back quickly. Let me just check something. I'm gonna go with no. I was wondering if I'd trained in deception. I can't remember, but yeah. Mimion nods, satisfied. "As I thought, you're a cast-off, one of his children." He touches you with his long-fingered hands as if in consolation. "There is no shame in such a thing. Many cast-offs have come to our attention, and some of them have sought to deceive us so they might seem more important." He smiles softly. "If you are as new as we suspect, it is better for you, for us, to know the truth of your existence than to bluster and lie." Casmine touches your shoulder. "Are you sure? Sure you're not?" She catches herself. No, why would you lie about that? With noticeable effort, she wrenches herself into optimism and she chirps. But you're new, aren't you? You're new. Have you decided what you'll do, what you'll be? Your sire's other children have done amazing things. Amazing. No doubt as you will as well. Maman lays a hand on her shoulder. His voice is low, cautionary. Kaz. She looks away from you, swallowing sudden tears, and he says, We have a request for you. He gestures towards the clock behind him. Dark figures circumambulate these clock faces. I theorize that your sire's creation of the time shields that protected the city he established a connection with his future selves. Given this, we believe those figures may be cast-offs, or ghosts of cast-offs. Perhaps the living shells of the bodies your creator has worn previously. The clock is unmoored in time. We do not have knowledge sufficient to investigate, but you might have a connection... You have a connection with he who created the clock. You should be able to align it with the present time and uncover these figures as they are. A gentle, rare smile appears. If you cannot, at least you will increase our store of knowledge. And then we can answer the questions you might have. Right, Mim? Do you have any idea how to fix a clock? We have tried. I've appealed to the Order of Truth. I've spoken with eminent seekers of knowledge. We have sent for wisdom from as far as the Steadfast. A great achievement, you must agree. But none have given us an answer. We believe your sire created the device, or had a hand in it, perhaps. Dismay dances across his fingers. The Steadfast, for reference, is kind of the area that the main tabletop game has described in it, and it's kind of the default setting. Whereas this area takes place in like an area that is distant but not too distant from it. It's possible to travel between the two, but very difficult. Kind of means that In Exile has had a bit more free reign than they otherwise would have. His Kasmin's hungry-eyed compatriot steps in. Perhaps you can find an answer where others have failed. Then we can help you. You'll have our boundless gratitude, revered one. Okay, so now we have these things. The structure is embedded to the ground, not made by the same people who made Circus Minor, and extends deeper into the ground below the road. Weathered ruins are on the device's surface. Alright, maybe I do something here first. Yeah. Complex machine towers over you. Its purpose is unclear, but 3 circular faces set into the ground remind you of clocks. Something is wrong with the machine, however. It's partially transparent, shimmering in the air when you look directly at it. The clock faces seem to show several times at once. Humanoid silhouettes ripple beneath the central clock face. One places his hand against the face as over a glass wall. They seem to be watching you. Let's examine the machine. The towering mechanism wavers in the air. Similar to the Keller stage, it appears to be in several states at once, though all the machine states are in the exact same location. You can't touch it either. Your hand passes right through the structure. As you put your hand away, a memory strikes you as powerfully as if someone took a club to your chest. You're working at the clock, no longer transparent, but perfectly solid. There's noise behind you. So they've come. The 3 traitors. They think to surprise you, but through the powers of the clock you've foreseen this moment. There is the faintest sound of metal sliding against leather. You slap a hand on the central clock face, activating the clock's arcane powers. You're not sure what it'll do to them, but it's better than what they'll do to you. There's a flash. Arcs of energy stretch out from the clock, over your shoulders to your would-be attackers. You don't see what happens to them, but they quickly disappear along with their screams. As the last shreds of the memory fade, a swirl of energy passes through your body. Cold barbs prick every muscle. Suddenly, tidal forces arc from the clock to 3 ancient vices in the cultist encampment. The clock recognizes something inside you, or maybe vice versa. Either way, you've inadvertently activated the nearby devices. Now we go to these things. Alright, first we have the cutscene. Now they've got the faintly glowing thing. So this is the same puzzle. I don't see any reason why they would have changed it. It was reasonably satisfying as it was before. As you approach this device, Circus Minor is thrown into chaos. Buildings are on fire, people screaming, running for their lives, while armored soldiers hunt them. None of them seem to pay any attention to you, though it's some kind of vision, not reality. You glance down at the device. A series of images flit across its surface. They don't appear related to the changes around you. You see the faces of other people and places, all of them familiar. Let's look more closely at the changes around us. Circus Minor is under attack. Squads of armored soldiers roam the streets, hunting and killing anyone they find. Mobs of people flee in terror, with only a few hapless souls trying and failing to fight them off. The soldiers are completely encased in jagged metal armor. You can't even tell if they're human. Looking beyond the carnage, this square looks wildly different. Many of the devices that are on fire don't exist at all when... Awkward. When you step away from the device, having been replaced by other structures. And let's look at the images on the device. As soon as you focus on them, you feel a warmth on your head where your tattoo is. The images respond to your thoughts, slowing and changing at a whim. Something about your body allows you to do this, which is perhaps it means only you can see the images. You immediately recognize the pictures as pieces of memory, specifically the memories you saw back in the fathoms of your mind. Let's look at the memory in the underwater city. Memory is recent. Two men, both with tattoos like your own, are in the underwater city looking for something. The denizens of the city chase them from the artifact they seek and ultimately surround and capture them. You review the memory, you get a strange feeling that you can only describe as a query. The device wants something from you. Suddenly you remember the memories in the device are possibilities, but you can lock one of the memories here, so it's the only one that displays. You don't remember what purpose that served, though. Let's look at the memory. City under siege. I think this is the most appropriate one. No, this is ancient. It might have occurred 1,000 years ago. A man and a girl race through the streets of Sagas Cliffs. All of them are... all around them, the city is attacked by terrible people. The Tabat, you recall. The man takes them to an ancient machine somewhere in the city, then he and the girl disappear. So let's lock that one. The images of the man and girl are the only ones to play across the surface. They run past the enemy soldiers and disappear into the machine in an endless loop. Okay, middle one. A strange feeling comes over you as you approach this device, as if someone was sneaking up on you in the corner of your eye. When you look, there's no one there. It feels like something's different though, but you can't put your finger on what. A series of images flit across the surface of the device itself. They don't appear to be related to the changes around you. You see the faces of other people and places, all of them familiar. So, so this has to be a recent memory. So we'll take a closer look at the changes around us. Changes are difficult to notice at first, but after a moment you figure it out. Circus Mine is the same, but the crowd is different. Most of the people in the stalls and buildings are not the same as those around the square. Those few you do recognize are younger by several years. So this has to be the recent one. Images of two men in the underwater city. Now the only images that play, they search for something, are chased and captured over and over again in an endless loop. And now we've got the ribbon. And now we move on to the last piece. Whoops, the last piece is over here.
Yes. Now.
And so, as you approach it, changes around you, look at the changes. Circus Mine looks almost completely different. All the people are dressed strangely, although they speak the truth, they use many terms and phrases you don't understand. The square's changed as well. All of the tents are gone. The buildings are more colourful and less weathered. One building in particular rises from the edge of the square. A tower of purple rock, some 50 stories high. A mural's painted on the side, though you can't see the details from here. Let's look at the memory of the lush valley. You know it's from a long time ago, centuries ago probably. A man and a woman, both with tattoos like your own, are surveying a lush, secluded valley for some purpose you cannot recall. So we'll lock it here. And if we got it right, then here we go. As soon as you lock the third image, a final surge of energy arcs through the air from the device to the clock itself. The clock shines for a moment, then becomes solid, fixed into a single state. At the same time, the device in front of you goes dark. The images disappear, as does the strange view of the city's past. Okay, that's a really nice effect. Yeah, that's definitely some polish that's gone into it. Now let's go and interact with the clock. The machine is now solid. Each of the three clock faces shows a single time, though none of them point toward any time measurement you understand. You lean closer to the central clock face. 3 shadowy figures lurk within, their features almost discernible now. Suddenly the figures surge out of the clock towards you. Intense pressure strikes your head like a steel spike. Then everything goes black. Updated my journal. Okay. So here is a nice Escher location.
Yes.
And we've got these 3. Villain, Diviatiku, and Kamose. 3 figures before you are disoriented. They don't seem to notice you. All 3 of them have tattoo like yours. Cast-offs. What befell us? The woman is dressed in powerful-looking armor. Her face bears several scars, yet her eyes have the innocence of a child. Did he do something? Are we still in the clock? I do not believe so. The second figure is tall, dressed in all black. Its height is exaggerated by a violet fish-like crest on top of its head. Its large yellow eyes are squinted, scanning around. There was a man outside the clock, but it wasn't... It was him, Villain said. The third figure points at you. He's small and wiry and tense, as though he expects danger. He carries a shield on his back. He's a cast-off. Can't say I recognize him, though. Looking at the tattoo, which I guess we can't change, so it's a good indicator. Who are you? We beg your forgiveness, friend, brother. We've been through quite the trial. I'm Kamose. These are my friends, Diviatiku and Villain. We are cast-offs like you. She looks up and down. She looks you up and down, her brow slightly furrowed despite her kind demeanor. We were ingested into your head. I saw it. How is that possible? Who are you? I'm a cast-off. I'm the latest one. The latest? She raises... Kamose raises an eyebrow significantly higher than the other. That's not possible. We faced a change you got mad days ago. You're not the body you were. I think we may have been trapped in the clock for centuries, Kamose. Something about it messed with our perception. The Vargellen looks up at the ceiling, or where the ceiling would be if there were one. Time is an illusion. How long is the wrong question. What is this place? Where are we? Somewhere in my mind, I think. The Vargellen shuts its eyes, 6 nostrils open wide as it inhales deeply. Yes, perhaps you're right. Our consciousness were ripped from our bodies when the changing god activated his clock. When you appeared, it happened again. Our minds ripped from their chronal prison. He looks to its friends. I cannot be certain, but I believe this is part of some vast mental construct. Your mental construct. What? You mean we went from one prison to another? Villain grabs you by the shoulders. You did this. If this is your mind, let us out. Why did the changing god trap you in the clock? Ah, yes, well, the 3 of us once worked alongside our sire, helping him with his research after it brought the Order of Truth to Sega's Cliffs. We saw him for what he was, selfish, arrogant. He doesn't care about us, not a single one of his children. All his projects were always about him. He didn't care if anyone got hurt in the process. We betrayed him. Unlike the others, the Vargellen looks you directly in the eye. We meant to stun him, to catch him before he could escape to another body, but he was too quick for us. He activated the clock, tearing our minds from our bodies and trapping us eternally. I don't know how to get us out of here. Relax, friend brother. Whether for days or centuries, we've survived that clock, we'll survive this. If time is an illusion, then it's not our enemy. We'll find a way. Why can't you get us out of here? When you're listening, we were trapped in that clock for centuries. I'm looking for a way out, believe me. But if Diviatiku says it's your mind, it's your show. So long as we live, there's hope. One of us will find a way. I'll look around. I'll be back.
Let's go.
Yeah, I don't see anything. Three of them mutter at each other, looking around the strange places. They try to find a way out. It's not that big. Well met, brother. Have you discovered anything new about our predicament? I don't see any way out. A Vargellen stretches his neck, putting its face within a handspan of yours. It seems to be examining you. Then it says, your mind. Only you have the power to change. What he's trying to say is, this place was created for your body, or perhaps by your body. Asaya placed within each of us unique gifts and abilities. For example, I've never heard of tell of another cast-off who could trap consciousness the way you have. She gives you a warm smile. He would not have created this space for you without giving you a means with which to move through it. Think, what other gift did our Creator bestow upon you? I chose an aspect of myself when I was born deep in the heart of this labyrinth, is that it? I can see of what you speak. This aspect describes you, just as I am Vargellan. Villain is observant, and Kamose is foolish. I object to that characterization. He's not wrong, and you know it. It's the truth. Anyway, you've gotten us out of twice as much trouble as you get us into. These aspects are descriptors of who we are, but they're not us. That you chose your aspects is quite a lot, but I do not believe that's enough to set us free. I am a jack of all trades. So am I, kid, and yet we're both still stuck here. You see, that's just the type of thing you do as a path you chose, not something a child gave you, nor a means to freedom. Well, what they're saying is aspect, role, focus. We don't have a focus yet. Our character is a something Jack. I actually don't remember at this point. It's something to do with sneaking or persuasiveness. Anyway, I built a path out of a deep fathom in my mind by recovering memories I'd lost. Perhaps, if there are any memories here to recover. Maybe I don't know what memories look like, but I don't see anything. It would seem we're in agreement, villain. Don't think I have the ability you're talking about. You must. Kamose looks at her patriots and back to you. We each have our gifts, given to us by our sire for a specific purpose. His purpose, of course, but a purpose nonetheless. She presses her hand to her chest. They say, for example, that foolish though I may be, I have 9 magical gifts of speech. This is not something I chose nor learned, but it's who he made me to be. I'm a master of defensive arts. Our sire learned them when he was in my body, probably built my body to excel at it. Wouldn't call it a gift, but it's me, yeah. I'm one with the shadows. I live them. I breathe them. This is not some esoteric I discovered, but a unique ability our sire chose for me while he was in my body. The gift is in you. You just have to... Perhaps you've just forgotten. Our sire wouldn't have made this place without granting you the power to get out. Focus. Find the answer inside yourself. Shut your eyes and search for the memories they speak of. You rifle through your memories past everything you actually remember to those memories you didn't create yourself. There must be a key or a door, anything that will help you escape this fathom of your mind. Just as you're about to give up, you find something. A cluster of sparks, nascent abilities within the core of your being. You sense the abilities to speak eloquently, to use the shield with a master's skill, to lurk among the shadows as if they were home. We're going to be collecting cast-offs in this fathom, I can tell.
Ready to learn something new.
So this is where we actually get to pick one. None of them seem particularly suited to creating a path out of this place, but as you sift through them, you know that you're trapped here. Not because it's of some puzzle your sire left for you to solve, because you're not yet whole. There's another part, the last part of deciding who you are and completing yourself. You'll be able to open a path back to the calm of your mind. So brandishes a silver tongue basically gives us increased maximum effort on those tasks at this point. Breathe Shadow makes us better at night and gives us a surprise attack. And Master's Defense gives us those abilities. I'm going to go with Brandishes the Silver Tongue. But I suspect we'll get to pick again later. Otherwise, 3 focuses seems really limited compared to your typical Numenera. So we're stealing her ability. That's it, you did it! Does this mean we can get back to the real world? I don't think so, villain, but it does mean we're free, finally. Thank you, friend. Go. We will follow. And so we can also boost our... we can now level up. This is just tier 1, which basically means we can pick more stat pools, more edge, pick an edge even, extra effort, ability, or skill. Frankly, I think I'm going to grab intellect. Let me just check. This is intellect. This is intellect. This is not intellect, but not actually anything. So yeah, I'm going to grab an intellect edge so that we can use some of these abilities for free. Okay, excellent. And now we'll leave. And I think that will mark it for the day. Ooh, the Sorrow shows up and we gotta fight. Or something. What just happened there? I guess we'll find out next time. Until then, have a great day. Bye. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you spending the time and effort watching the videos I make. If you'd like to watch more, on the left there should be another video from this playlist. On the right there will be whatever YouTube recommends, and in the center there is a convenient subscribe button just in case you need it.